What is going on, everybody? Holy crap, what a freaking game. Wow. 23-19 final score. Did not look, I had a feeling the Texans were going to win. I've been talking about it, been about it for a minute. A lot of people were saying I was tripping, maybe being even a little bit of a homer. But I think it's time to admit Josh Allen does not play well in Houston. It just does not happen. The interception at the end, his fault for sure, but the interception at the beginning, you could blame it on the tip pass situation. But yeah, exactly, CJ. 8 sacks. This defense did exactly what it needed to do. And honestly, if I was even important enough to give like an award out to anybody, it'd be the whole defense. The whole defense clutch as fuck tonight. Like when we needed something to not, like when we needed Josh Allen and everybody to just get the fuck off the field, the defense did that. Outside of the 4th and 27 floop-de-doop, whatever special backyard bullshit, the hook and ladder. Outside of that, I mean, realistically, this was a red letter or a red banner night for the defense. 8 sacks, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson Jr. out here just eating. Hell, we even got Tim Settle and Mario Edwards Jr. in the mix. Like, all-around team effort. All-around team effort. Davis Mills did enough tonight, you know what I mean? But, like, whew, it looked pretty rough there at the beginning, but the defense bailed him out a couple different times, set him up a good enough field position to at least try to get a touchdown. Obviously, we got 2 field goals out of those, but oh my God, this defense, man. At the beginning of the year, I was like, how bad is this offense going to be? Because I feel like this defense is going to have to be like early 2000s Ravens to really kind of overcompensate. Like they're going to have to be a historic level defense. Second half was rough for Money Mills. Absolutely. That last that 2-minute drill drive and at the very end of the first half, though, that was a chef's kiss. Like just perfect. You can't ask for anything better. But 3 games in a row now where Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter are feasting. They're jazzing up the defense to make things happen and getting the other team off the field, putting them in bad situations to where the defense can actually make plays. And holy mother of God, has that been sorely missed. Like it, obviously everybody's been talking about how it's just been Will Anderson for a minute. And then Daniil Hunter over the last 3 games has put in, I think it's like 6 or 7 sacks in the last 3 games. I mean, he's killing it right now. Will Anderson Jr., if there was ever a question in your mind about, do you think they're going to go ahead and pay the man? If Will Anderson Jr. is not the first person paid in the offseason, just to go ahead and lock it in, there's some serious missteps happening in the GM office. Yeah, I said that last year too. That's fair enough. We are nothing but creatures of habit, if not. But Davis Mills, that first half, holy moly, starting out like 1 of 9 or whatever it was, like one of 8. Rough, buddy. But I don't know. It just kind of all seemed to click after they kind of really started leaning on Woody Marks and Woody was able to start getting some big yards, consistent yards at that too. Yeah. 50 mil, Will. You're not wrong. They're going to be calling him money bags. Jalen Reed, I've been asking why he's not playing more. He played more tonight. He was always around the ball. Probably because he's getting targeted if he's in coverage or something, but always around the ball. But yeah, Davis Mills didn't play great, but he played well enough. And that's really all you can ask for. Play well enough to let this defense be able to go out and do what it does best. Kill quarterbacks for a living. Put them in a situation where they've got to put it between a rock and a hard place, and you're going to be set up for some success. Yeah, I know he was injured before, but he's back for a couple weeks on doing like special teams and stuff, and I wanted him to. I guess it's probably smart to let him get back in the groove of things, but I wanted to see him play. Miles Bryant, more experience, yeah. Nick Haley is ass, but like of his ass performances, this was the most decent. Like at least there were spurts of like activity. Aziz versus Deion Dawkins was crazy. Yeah, dude, I swear to God, Aziz would pick a fight with a tree if he could. Comeback player of the year, Trent Brown. Shit. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to get into tonight, folks. So I hope you've got some time. Yeah, Davis Mills. Again, not a Herculean effort. I think he finished 16 for 30, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. A clean game, which is something I needed out of Davis Mills this week. Be efficient with your reps, which for the first little bit did not look possible. But second quarter, offense figured out how to get into the end zone, and we needed both of those points. I will say that early touchdown where James Cook ran it from 45 yards in, and then they missed that extra point. Holy crap, is that crucial there at the end? Because then we're not, they're not playing for a touchdown. They're playing for a field goal, and they were well within range to tie the game. So that definitely puts that whole final segment there in a much different light. But Davis Mills, consistent. There were some drops tonight. I know Cade Stover dropped 2 balls. There was some passes that he threw that I think the routes were run wrong. The couple with Jaden, there was one where he was wide open on the sidelines and Davis Mills was under pressure, and I think he threw it before Jaden was even looking for the ball, but it was incomplete. He's like, go up the field. So I think there was a minor miscommunication on a couple of them. He almost took out Dawkins' knee. Yeah. Oh, you talking about the fumble recovery? Yeah, that was funny. Or the whatever. Rich boy Jay. What up, man? Yeah, dude. Look, I'm not saying we're back, okay? But we're fucking close. All right. I think this is probably the best that the offense has looked in any sort of most of the game comparison. I think we spent more of this game against a defense that is obviously pretty weak against the run. And they really had to send a lot of blitzes to kind of counteract the fact that we were running the ball effectively. The linebackers were not getting behind the gap or getting between the gaps that early on. Let's go, Dime in the chat. Dude, guys, we're 6-5 right now. It's a good spot to be in. And if you're CJ Stroud, getting the keys back at 6-5, bro. That's a lot different. That's a lot different than you left it. If I'm CJ Stroud, you gotta learn from what Davis was doing. Obviously, learn from what didn't work, but what worked. He was able to get it into the rookie's hands. He was able to get it into Nico's hands by feeding him a lot. By the way, perfect segue. What the fuck was up with all the injuries tonight? Both teams, everybody, every other play coming off the field. I'm pretty sure like everybody in the secondary for the Bills got hurt towards the end. Hairston, that safety guy that they had, I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, the ref got injured too. Ref blew out his hammy or whatever. We're gonna win the South. It's Daniel fucking Jones. I love the energy, Dime. I love the energy. That game coming up is very crucial. We've got 10 days of rest. You know, we've still got to win either this game. Like if we beat the Colts, we're sitting in a much different situation. Okay. Like 10 days from now, if we're having a conversation where we're 7-5 and the Colts are 8-4, you know, that's a much different situation. You also got to remember the Jags are still in this. We don't have a tiebreaker with them. We split. So the next tiebreaker will probably be either common opponents or AFC wins, which I think they have more of at the moment. But yeah, Dameon Pierce getting cut before the game hurt. You're telling me, dude, I bought his jersey after his rookie year. I was in on the Dameon Pierce thing. I was in like Flynn, like fucking out here. But yeah, CJ Stroud's got to come in here in a couple weeks or 10 days, and he's got to look better than Davis Mills. I think if we get, I don't believe that there's a quarterback controversy. I think that the system complements what Davis Mills is capable of, and he kind of probably has a better reputation, or not reputation, but relationship with the wide receiving core. He's also gotten what I believe to be the best offensive lineup that we've had all season. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there was only a handful of times that I really felt like Davis Mills was about to get killed. Like quietly, one of the best offensive line performances we've had all season. But I mean, you're in a good spot. You got to play the Colts in Indianapolis. CJ's coming off of 3 games break. His body should be nice and crisp. He'll get a whole hell of a lot of practice reps leading up to this. I'm fucking into it. Mixon replying to Rap Sheet like he's coming back this year. What the fuck? No, look, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of it because I've heard some things. Brandon has said some things, but yeah. What up, Action Bookie? Mills just did a good job taking fewer sacks / bad sacks. Yeah, I think you're right. You ain't no Texan. What does that even mean? Oh, like where I'm from? No, I'm not actually from Texas. Unfortunately, it's a good, but you know, basically in Texas Junior, aka Tennessee, minus all the rattlesnakes and such, and the Dallas Cowboys. CJ dead last in bad sacks. He compounds a lot of things by just running backwards, a lot like Josh Allen did this evening. Josh Allen ran backwards a fucking lot. A fucking lot. But I don't know. I said he ain't coming back too. I know, Brandon, but you said something about like the blood flow or whatever. And then now Joe Mixon out here on that, was he on that Antonio Brown time, just like screaming at the fucking media? Well, not the most recent Antonio Brown, because that's something else entirely, but prove me wrong, Mixon. Would be nice. I got here as soon as I could. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's peek out. Somebody I wanted to highlight. Kalen Bullock stepping the fuck up in the safety room right now. If you're not aware of Kalen Bullock, obviously he's the second-year safety for the Houston Texans. And then you've got rookie Jalen Reed, who I noticed playing a lot more reps than he's ever played, at safety at least. But I don't remember specifically a time where I was just like, damn, Jalen, you cooked us on that one. And I think that a lot of that was Kalen Bullock getting him in the right spot if he had any questions, kind of stepping up, being there for the tipped pass interception, returning that. If Derek Barnett didn't block the hell out of that guy in the back, we'd be looking at an even further different score. So, oh man. But Kalen Bullock, solid fucking young player. I can't wait for the future with this guy. But yeah, didn't he have both the picks tonight? Mills should finish the season. I don't think that's going to happen. No matter what, you got to figure out what you got with CJ Stroud because of what you invested in him. Now, I will say that if it gets to a point where there's clearly a distinct difference in what CJ Stroud is bringing post his sit, I think I think maybe you revisit it, but I don't think it's going to happen. He was targeted 3 times and got 2 picks. That's right. 3-0 Mills. Look, I made a promise. First of all, let me ask you guys. I'll hold myself accountable to what I said. If you can tell me if you think Mills played well. If you think Mills played well, because my stipulations for this were that he played well enough, and he won the game to get a white Texans Davis Mills jersey. He at least got half of that. So I think on some level I'm close to being on the hook for that. But if you guys think he played well, then I'll definitely get that jersey. Somebody who I also think played pretty well, the Lumberyard. Woody and Chubb, effective enough. It wasn't like every run, again, was the most pretty thing because, our offensive line isn't great, but that was probably the best performance in pass blocking that we've had. Probably one of our better individual running back efforts this season. It's kind of crazy we didn't get any of it in the end zone, but it got us down there a couple different times. They adjusted and then kind of took it away a little bit in the second half. But Woody and Chubb, the Lumberyard, kind of getting it done, keeping us on track, keeping us on pace here. Mills played good enough, and honestly, CJ is not this whole season. I legit just hate my own shit, man. Holy hell. Get this guy into the hospital. That's not good. That is not good. We had like 50 yards in the second half. Exactly. It wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but you knew they were going to make some adjustments. This was the best offensive line they've put out this season, hands down. I was thinking this is what they were going to do. I think this is probably when they were in the offseason, this is probably the offensive line that they wanted to trot out, but not everybody was healthy at the same time. Because if everybody remembers, Titus Howard was playing guard the entire training camp until they realized Ursary was better at left tackle. And then they were like, shit, I guess we'll have to put Titus at right tackle. Trent Brown wasn't going to be ready anytime soon. So, yeah, I agree. Kaylee watched the Bills lose all their DBs and then stop throwing the ball. Yeah. Well, it's not, I mean, look, it wasn't that like the passing game was just killing them. We would get like effective passes, and then all of a sudden, Cade Stover would drop a pass. Like we had that there was a drive right after we stopped them in the fourth quarter in the red zone, and we ended up punting the ball but we had just stopped them. The game just wrapped. That's why. But they had just stopped him, and then yeah, they're go 3 and out. I think it was second and like an 8 or something. And Cade Stover drops a pass that if he catches it and then just goes down, it's 3rd and 2. And then he drops it, and then we have to go for a very different situation. Wait, Ursery is another sign they tried to make Casario signing like Cam Robinson work instead of letting guys play in their correct positions. I mean, I suppose I get what you're saying, but one of the things that I'm worried about with the Woody Marks thing is like I feel like Woody Marks at his best is probably like just a 3rd down running back. I don't think he's meant to be the bell cow. I'm like he's got the fucking he's got some burst to him. I'm not saying he's not able to run between the tackles, but he's not built for that. That's definitely what Chubb is built for. I like what he brings to the table. Don't get me wrong. I just he's 24 years old. He's a rookie. I mean, how long are we going to have with him? Make sure you guys like, subscribe if you're new here. Oh, because they tried to move Ursery. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. You're not. I mean, they did that with Dameon Pierce, though. You know what I mean? They did it with Dameon Pierce, and then it literally broke him. He got hurt that season and never came back the same. When Woody Marks got hurt, I was like, shit. Uh-oh. Kind of had that same feeling when Josh Allen got hurt on that Will Anderson tackle early in the game. I was like, uh-oh, this could change shit pretty dramatically. But solid day at the office. Can't be mad at the run game. Can be mad at the rush, like the offensive line on run plays. There were several times where Ed Ingram and Jake Andrews were just blown off the ball, getting thoroughly exposed. And then there were other instances where they were getting great double teams, working up to backers, and really creating some good lanes. I think Kaylee's night tonight was decent. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. I would say it is decent. In the grand scheme of it, we got down into the red zone, however, 4 or 5 times a total. I can't remember if definitely 4 times. And we came away with 2 touchdowns, which is significantly better than our red zone like percentages most of the time. It's where Mills got both of his touchdowns. By the way, Christian Kirk finally doing fucking anything. Fucking anything. What is up? I mean, thank you, Christian Kirk, for what you contributed this evening, but like, where the fuck has any of this been? The wide open touchdown was clean, but that catch there right before half where he caught it and ran over the middle and basically got like a good 40 yards or whatever. That was huge, and I did not see that coming. One hell of a night for him. But Kaylee, decent evening. I'm not going to give him too many props. He definitely has flaws. At times they were too quick to give up on the run. At times they were too slow to give up on it. I don't know. It's just, man. I feel like there's not really a good medium with him. I think we'll end up keeping him for another year. I think it's just what's going to happen. The difference being, I don't think he's going to end up like Bobby Slowick, where Bobby was almost regressive in his sophomore year. I think Nick Caley had a lot of bumps and bruises this year, but I think there's a chance that he'll be able to work a lot of that out in the future. Where the hell are Brandon's comments? He might be watching on this AFC South show, one of the sister channels to this. Feels like all the bell cows are getting hurt now too. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's hard to be a bell cow right now. That first red zone trip, we ran all the way down there and didn't run once in the red zone. Is that accurate? The first one? I think we ran to get it to like first and goal after like a 3rd and 1 or something like that. And then we didn't run it. I don't know. You might be right about that, but let's take a look. Let's see here. Somebody I was glad was back was Fairbairn. I don't know what it is, but when he's in at the kicking spot, I just feel like most of the time he's fucking got this. Like there's rare occasions where it's like, this is too easy. And then I'm like, Fairbairn's going to fuck this up. Or I've on occasion where we've used a lot of him, like against the Broncos, it's like, I mean, he's going to miss, 1 out of 6 attempts. Like it's just going to happen. I think most kickers do. You like him to be perfect, obviously, but like he was tonight. But after the doink that didn't count against the Titans last week, it was nice to see everything going nice and neat through the uprights. There was one that kind of like squeaked in from the left hash mark. But most of them right down the damn middle. Very glad he's back. Very glad he's healthy. Man, he's been here for a hot minute. I think he's the last carryover from fucking Bill O'Brien, right? Other than Titus. That feels right. But we've talked about it a little bit. Is this the peak of our offensive line? Ursery, Titus, Jake Ingram, and Trent Brown. If this group is healthy and plays from now until the end of the season, does it change your outlook on how this goes? Because I'm going to look it up real quick just to make sure I'm not talking too far outside of my neck here. Because I tend to do that from time to time. Let's see. One hell of a game. 19-23. Fucking hell. What a game. All right. Stats. Josh Allen, no passing touchdowns. He threw for 250 yards, but they had 183 passing yards because of the 8 sacks against him. One hell of a defense. One hell of a defense tonight. Should have been 40-16. Shit. They had 143 rushing yards. We had 108 on 26 attempts. They had the 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, they did not sack us 1 time. So we ran for over 100 yards and did not get sacked 1 time. There wasn't even one that was like called back because of a penalty, like the Trevon Walker one. No, this was just a clean offensive line performance. This has got to be the one that trots out every game, no matter who comes back healthy. This is the peak of the offensive line. They need to play together. If this group can continue to get better as a unit somehow, some way, I think the sky's kind of the limit. What up? If you're new here, hit the like, subscribe button wherever you're at. We're here on YouTube, That Real Texas Team podcast. Also, this AFC South show and the This AFC South show Twitter, if you're out there. This AFC South show on Facebook. Subscribe, like, wherever the hell you're at. But, Ursery got hurt, and I was like, shit, we got to put Blake Fisher in the game. I know I wasn't the only one. And then Mills throwing that clutch ass 8 seconds left on the clock touchdown to Jaden Higgins to close out the second quarter. Oh, man, what a drive. After the kickoff return, I was like, fuck. Which, by the way, is a whole other topic we got to get into. Special teams kind of shit in the bed as of late. I wonder if that's because of all the injuries to like the significant special teams contributors lately who've been asked to start or play a lot on defense. So either now we got new bodies and new spots and people aren't as good as they were or whatever, but we'll get into that. Fuck it. We'll get into it now. The special teams is part of the reason that the Jags game was so out of hand at any point. Part of the reason the Titans were able to do some things. They had some good returns. It just feels like the special teams is kind of losing its grip on what they do well. And that needs to come back if we're going to be taken any sort of seriously from this point on. But Ursery got hurt. Blake Fisher came in. Offense doesn't miss a beat. Mills throws a fucking dime to Jaden Higgins over the middle. Beautiful. I think you've got more than likely Bills are asking how the Titans play the Texans better than they do. Well, that's a good question to ask, mostly considering we've got a much better win percentage against the Bills. Titans, I think it's just because the Titans used to be us, and it used to be the Oilers, and every time the Texans pull up in Nashville, that's where I'm at. If you're not aware, if the Texans pull up that one game a year in Nashville, every time, all my exes live in Texas is what the song that the Texans walk out to. It is all because the Adams family is a bunch of bitches. I'm gonna be honest. Amy Adams is just a retard. 26-0. Yeah, they can suck my balls. All right. Titans can stop the run, and we're off on a bye week. Yeah. Look, we're at a critical juncture here. When we looked at Buffalo, Indianapolis, and Kansas City, realistically, you want to come out of this 2-1. Winning this game gives you that wiggle room that you need. I think you could roll this momentum, even if it's CJ Stroud coming in later on. I think you can roll the momentum forward and potentially play. The Chiefs and the Colts play this week. If the Chiefs beat the Colts and we beat the Colts, we're a game back with a game to play. And the Colts have some other difficult games on their schedule, including at Jacksonville, which they haven't won at since 2014. I got their schedule right here. I'm not even going to try to guess. They still have to play Seattle and San Francisco, Jacksonville again, and then us. So, I mean, it ain't a guarantee for the Colts to be winning out here. Can you believe a Davis Mills, Nick Caley combo in 3-0? No, honestly, it's hard to believe, but also I was always firmly in the camp that Mills never really got the opportunity with a good team around him to play any sort of good football. I always thought he was kind of average. And when you're an average quarterback, you really, really, really have to have superstars around you. The elite the Tom Brady's, whatever. They can make a wide receiver somebody sometimes. Austin Collie, Brandon Stokely, you know what I mean? Fucking, what was it, Wes Welker? But Davis didn't really have a lot of people. And then they brought in CJ, spent a fuckload of money in free agency, put a really good team around him, and next thing you know, they're winning. Davis Mills comes in and starts winning. And it's like, all right. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of what I was telling you the whole time. But I'm not mad that CJ's here. I think he has a higher ceiling. I think Davis Mills is like what you're seeing out of Davis is probably peak Davis. CJ Stroud, I don't think has actually hit his peak yet because the situation around him has not allowed it. Colts and Jags choking would be legendary. It would. I'm not getting my hopes up for that. I don't think we've played well enough for continuous stretches to be worried about all that. I think we got to continue to just plug ahead, do our thing game by game. And then we got a good shot of, making the playoffs at least. Cool that Jalen Reed gets some plays and experience. Bullet coached him up. Dude, for real. I wanted him to be playing. He was lighting it up in camp. I actually posted a video on I think it was the That Real Texas Team podcast Instagram. It was of him intercepting a pass at training camp. And he tweeted at me and was like, "Hey, bro, let me get a copy of that." I was like, "Hell yeah!" Shout outs to Justin for going to camp and getting that. But yeah, dime. It's Daniel Jones shut down the run, and we got it. You're not wrong. It's harder to shut down Jonathan Taylor than it sounds. It's possible, but it's harder to do than it sounds, especially considering the Colts offensive line is pretty solid. And I would say it's probably better than the Bills with no shadow of a doubt. But if we can make Daniel Jones' life hell and we can shut down the run, we'll be all right. I think we have a very good shot against the Colts. I mean, Daniel Jones has played like shit against us. So, I mean, I feel like Higgins is going to start toe tapping every catch. 5 yards from the sideline. You're not wrong, dude. He'd made that mistake too many times, and then I think he overcorrected on a couple of them. It's about to be the only drill he does for like the next 7 years of his career. And so the Bills had the best tackles in the league. The Bills? They got Deion Dawkins. Spencer Brown's okay. I mean, you're not going to be upset if Spencer Brown's your right tackle. He's a quality tackle, but I don't think I wouldn't even put him in the top 5. I would put Deion Dawkins at top 7, and he'd be 7. Maybe. Who the fuck would I put above him? Laramie. Fucking hell. Conversation for another time. Trent Williams, I guess. What's that kid? Jordan Mailata for the Eagles. Charles Cross, is that the left tackle for the Sea Chickens? Yeah, those are pretty solid options. They have a decent offensive line. Don't get me wrong, but our defensive line finally got a chance to do what it does best, which is fucking annihilate a quarterback. So we got to be happy with that. But this is the peak offensive line, folks. Drink it in. Ursary, Titus, Jake, Ingram, and Brown. If we can keep these 5 healthy and on the field, this gives us the best shot to do whatever we want to do this season. Let's see where we can take it. With that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I think this has been a fun one. If you're new here, again, like, subscribe, notification bell. Mike and Chris couldn't be with me. Mike was at the game this evening. So if you saw like a 6'2", never mind. It's like every other guy there. But anyway, Chris and Mike both have their own channels at Mastery Production for Mike. That's Crazy Podcast and Talk for Chris. If you wouldn't mind going out of your way, like, subscribe over there, notification bell, try to help those gentlemen grow their channels. Do the same thing here. So, folks, 23-19 win over the Bills is huge. We're now 6-5 with 10 days rest until CJ Stroud takes the reins over in Indianapolis. We'll be seeing each other soon. So, till then, go Texans. Fuck the Colts and the Cowboys and the Chiefs.